Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're jumping straight into a topic that's, well, pretty essential for making sense of the world. Critical thinking.
Yeah, absolutely crucial.
But we're looking at it through a really specific lens today, using the material you sent over the world of academic debate.
Exactly. We've got this comprehensive textbook material, and the plan is to sort of pull out the core ideas.
Right, the strategies that make debate, such a powerful tool, how it teaches you to spot good arguments from bad ones.
And crucially, how you can take those skills outside the formal debate club.
Right.
Use them every day.
Because arguments are just
Yeah.
everywhere. News, social media, work, home.
You can't escape them.
So, yeah, the tools in these sources, they can give you a real edge in navigating all that. Ready to dive in?
Let's do it. So the sources, they start right at the beginning, defining debate.
And it's not just yelling, apparently.
Definitely not. It's a structured process. Evaluating a claim logically, looking at arguments for and against.
To reach a reasonable conclusion,
Yeah.
the source has this neat little formula, right?
Yeah, contradiction plus arguments, debate. Simple, but it captures it. You need that clash, but backed by reasons.
Which naturally brings us back to the Greeks. Aristotle.
Yes. Ethos, pathos, logos. The classics.
Ethos meaning credibility,
Do you trust the speaker? Yep.
pathos emotion,
How it makes you feel.
and logos, the logic, the reasoning. Does it actually make sense?
Right. And while all three are always sort of playing a role, the source material really emphasizes logos, the logic, as the best path for, solid decision-making.
Especially in these more academic or reasoned settings.
Exactly.
Okay, so if logos is the engine,
Uh-huh.
what's the basic unit of argument here? They talk about the enthemy.
The enthymeme, yeah. It's described as a rhetorical argument based on probabilities, signs, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But here's the kicker, the thing the source really highlights. It often has a hidden part, an unstated assumption.
They call it the warrant.
That's the term. It's the connection, the belief that links the reason to the claim, but it's not always spoken out loud. Ah, okay. Like your example. Don't pet that dog, it's barking. The unspoken bit is...
Barking dogs are potentially dangerous. That's the warrant.
And spotting that, questioning that hidden assumption, that's critical thinking.
Precisely. Is that underlying belief actually fair or true?
The sources also draw a line between academic debate and public debate, right?
A really important distinction. Academic debate, like the CETA or NDT formats mentioned, it's almost like training, developing skill.
Like a mental workout. You might even argue for a side you don't personally believe in just to master the technique.
Yeah, whereas public debates, think political debates, they're often aiming squarely to persuade the audience.
Using maybe more pathos and ethos.
Often, yeah. Emotion, personality. The source notes that academic judges are trained specifically to look at the argumentation, the evidence handling, not who they like more or agree with personally.
That focus on the method itself is key.
Huge takeaway.
Okay, so in this structured world, it all revolves around a central statement. The resolution. Yep, the resolution. It's the debatable statement that sets the stage, defines the boundaries of the argument.
And the type of resolution dictates the kind of debate you'll have. The sources mention three main types.
That's right. Fact, value, and policy.
Fact. Is it true or false?
Simple enough on the surface.
Value. Is it good or bad, right or wrong? An evaluation.
Making a judgment call.
And policy. Should we do something? A call to action.
Exactly, proposing a change.
And there's a kind of order to these, isn't there? A hierarchy.
Yeah, the text points that out. You often need to settle the facts first. They're foundational.
Before you can judge the value of something.
Right. And you usually need to agree on facts and values before you can sensibly argue about a policy about what should be done.
Makes sense. You need to know what's true and what matters before deciding on a course of action.
Pretty much.
This also makes the wording of the resolution itself really important, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. The sources stress clarity. If it's vague, the debate can just get lost in defining terms instead of tackling the issue.
Okay, so you've got the resolution. Then the sources talk about these assignments. Presumption, burden of proof.
Right. These set the ground rules for the debate. Who has to prove what?
Presumption sounds a bit legal.
It has that feel. Basically, the source says presumption usually lies with the status quo the way things are now.
The default setting.
Yeah. Unless there's a good reason to change, we stick with what is. Think innocent until proven guilty. Innocence is the presumption.
So if you want to change things, you've got the uphill battle.
Exactly. That's the burden of proof. The side arguing against the status quo, usually the affirmative pushing the resolution, they have the job of providing good reasons, enough evidence to overcome that initial presumption.
They have to make the case for change.
They have to justify it.
And how strong does that case need to be? That's the standard of proof.
Yep. The degree of certainty needed. For fact and value, it's often framed in terms of probability. Is it possible, probable, certain?
But for policy, it's a bit more complex. The source mentioned a formula.
Kind of, yeah. A way to think about risk. Risk, significance of disadvantages, X, likelihood of them happening X, difficulty of fixing them.
Interesting. So policy arguments involve really weighing those potential downsides carefully.
It suggests a more structured approach to evaluating the standard there, yes.
And all this ties into the prima facie case.
Right. Prima facie at first glance. The affirmative has to present a case that, right out of the gate, is strong enough on its own. If the other side said nothing, the judge should be convinced just based on that initial presentation.
They have to meet that burden of proof from the start.
Gotta make a complete case.
Okay, so to build that case, you need evidence.
The foundation, the source defines it pretty simply. Opinions, observations used to back up a claim.
It can be anything from personal stories to complex studies.
Yeah, lay opinion, expert opinion, observations, studies, even studies meta-analyses. Those are often seen as highly credible because they synthesize lots of data.
And you find this evidence? Libraries, online, digging yourself?
The usual places. But the crucial point the sources make isn't just finding it, it's evaluating it critically.
Right. They talk about different levels of sources. Popular, specialist.
Scholarly, yeah. Popular sources, easy to read, general info. Specialists, more detailed, need some background knowledge. Scholarly, deep dives by experts, peer-reviewed, often dense, but usually the most rigorous.
So scholarly is often the best evidence for debate, but maybe harder to use.
Exactly. Popular is accessible, but might be superficial or biased. It's a trade-off. You need to understand the strengths and weaknesses of where your info comes from.
Which brings us to evaluating the evidence itself. The source has a framework. First, interpretation.
Yeah, basically, are you being fair to the source, not twisting its meaning or taking things out of context?
Crucial. Then, relevance.
Does this piece of evidence actually support the specific point you're trying to make? Does it connect?
Like that point of order example, calling out irrelevant arguments.
You see it all the time. Someone throws out a fact, but it doesn't really prove their claim.
And the big one, reliability. The source gives a three-part test here.
Super useful test. Competence, bias, and hearsay.
Competence.
Yeah.
Is the source qualified? Do they actually know what they're talking about? Background, training.
Right. Are they an expert in this field? You can check internally what do they claim, and externally what do others say about their expertise.
Bias. This feels huge.
It is, and the source is clear. Everyone has biases, predispositions, viewpoints, maybe self-interest. The goal isn't to find a bias-free source, because that's impossible.
But to identify the potential biases and account for them. Look for emotional language, conflicts of interest.
Exactly. And then hearsay. How far removed is the info from the original source?
My cousin heard someone say, versus the official report states.
Right. Accuracy tends to drop with each retelling. The sources also warn about just piling up sources. Compurgation, they call it.
Citing 50 weak sources doesn't make the argument strong.
Nope. It can become an appeal to authority fallacy if you're not checking the quality of each source. Quantity isn't quality here.
That competence bias hearsay test.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant tool for everyday life, not just debate.
Absolutely. Something you can use constantly.
Okay, so you've got evidence, you've evaluated it. Now you need reasoning to link it all together. Syllogisms come up.
The classic logical structures. Categorical ones like all A are B, C is A, therefore C is B.
The Socrates example.
That's the one. Also conditional if-then and disjunctive either-or forms.
But the source makes a critical point about truth versus validity.
Yes. This is so important. An argument can be perfectly valid in its structure. The conclusion follows logically from the premises.
But if one of the starting premises is just wrong.
The conclusion will be wrong too, even if the logic looks sound. Like a perfectly built machine running on bad fuel.
So you have to check both the logic structure and the truth of the starting points.
Absolutely. That's the core of critical analysis right there.
The sources also compare deduction and induction.
Deduction gives you certainty. If your premises are true and your structure is valid, like the Socrates syllogism.
Induction is more like drawing general conclusions from specifics.
Exactly. Observing patterns, examples, and making a broader claim. It's super common, but less certain. The conclusion is only probably true.
And the source connects errors here to prejudice.
Yeah, like the example about stereotyping, making a broad negative generalization, all X or Y, based on limited or biased examples. The logic might follow. If all X are Y and Z is an X, then Z is Y. But the initial inductive leap was flawed.
Okay, moving from abstract logic to actual arguments people make.
Mm.
Argument by example.
Using specific instances to support a general claim. Very common.
And the sources give tests for this too.
Yep. Are the examples relevant? Are there enough of them? Are they typical or are they just weird outliers?
Cherry picking.
Right. And are there counterexamples? Is the claim qualified reasonably? Some, often, many versus all, always. They mention sampling methods too, ways to try and make your examples representative.
Then there's argument by cause effect. A causes B.
Another huge one, and again, critical tests. Did the cause actually happen before the effect? Sounds obvious, but...
Sometimes it's not clear.
Exactly. Is the cause relevant? Is it inherent, a fundamental reason, or just a coincidence?
Are there other possible causes? You have to consider alternatives.
And are there things that might prevent the effect, even if the cause is there? Counter causes. This is where that post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy comes in.
After this, therefore because of this. Just because you ate pizza and then felt sick doesn't mean the pizza caused it.
Precisely. Correlation isn't causation, a fundamental rule.
An argument by definition is the third type mentioned.
Yeah, focusing on whether something fits into a particular category or meets a specific definition. Debates about definitions can be quite central sometimes.
Okay, so arguments are made. Now, how do you fight back? Refutation.
The art of attacking the opponent's arguments, the sources list strategies.
Diminish it. Make it seem less important.
Yep. Show it's irrelevant. Mitigate the impact. Maybe it's true, but it's not that bad.
Point out contradictions.
Always good. Or show their argument actually helps your side the turnaround.
Ooh, that's clever.
It can be very effective. Or show lack of impact, lack of links, or just try to knock the argument out completely.
The text mentions a 4-step refutation.
Yeah, a structured way to respond.
Yeah.
The details aren't fully there in the excerpts, but it involves things like stating their point, stating your counterpoint, supporting it, and explaining the impact. Preempting arguments and rebuilding your own are also part of the broader refutation picture.
And a big part is just asking questions.
Absolutely. Questioning the link between their claim and evidence, questioning the source's authority or how recent the evidence is, poking holes in the logic.
Which leads nicely into cross-examination, that formal questioning period.
Right. In academic debate, after a constructive speech, the other side gets to ask questions directly. It's focused, it's timed.
Purposes? Clarification. Exposing weaknesses.
Both. And setting up your own future arguments. Getting them to commit to something you can use later. The questioner is trying to control the interaction.
While the respondent is trying to answer carefully, avoid traps.
Know their stuff, basically. Not get cornered. It can be pretty intense. The source mentions it's often tag team in CETA, so partners can help out.
It's a few minutes usually, right?
Typically, yeah. 3 minutes or so. High pressure.
Okay, let's tie this all back to those resolution types. Fact, value, policy. How does this play out differently?
For facts, it's all about truth-falsehood.
Yeah.
You need solid empirical evidence, careful distinction between observation and opinion, clear, logical inferences.
Value debates, good or bad, use these stock issues.
Yeah, definitive issues defining your terms, your core values, and designative issues applying your standard, your criterion to the specific case.
So you need a standard of judgment. The criterion, where do you get that?
Can come from philosophy, ethics, commonly held beliefs. The debate often becomes about which value is more important in this context, a hierarchy of values.
Policy debates seem the most involved. Should we do X?
They often are. The stock issues are key here. Motive problem, why change? Blame cause, what's wrong with the status quo? Cure plan, what's the solution? And cost disadvantages, what are the downsides?
The affirmative has to offer a specific plan, the cure.
Yes, they need to show their plan solves the problem caused by the status quo and the benefits outweigh the costs. The sources list different case types like need analysis or comparative advantage.
And the negative fights back by defending the current system.
That's one way, or suggesting minor tweaks are enough. Or offering a whole different solution, a counter plan.
Or arguing the affirmative plan isn't even relevant to the resolution topicality.
Right, or just hammering on the disadvantages, showing the plan will cause more harm than good. Lots of strategic options on both sides.
So, stepping back, the real power here, as the sources suggest, isn't just learning rules for a game.
Not at all. It's about how practicing this stuff builds those critical thinking muscles for everyday life.
Yeah, like spotting NT memes, questioning those hidden assumptions in ads or news headlines. That's huge.
Or applying that reliability test competence bias hearsay to figure out who to trust online or in the news.
Understanding if someone is making a fact, value, or policy claim helps you know what kind of argument you're even having.
Definitely clarifies things. And knowing the tests for arguments by example or cause effect helps you, pick apart weak reasoning when you hear it.
It moves you from just passively receiving information to actively analyzing it.
That's the goal. The sources even have practical tips on organizing notes, managing time, skills that apply anywhere.
So looking back at everything we've covered from the material you sent,
Mm.
we've really unpacked how debate teaches critical thinking, from argument
It's sort
structure
of evaluating evidence rigorously.
to understanding different kinds of claims and how to challenge them.
It's a powerful toolkit, really, not just for debaters, but for anyone who wants to think more clearly and argue more effectively, building that mental discipline.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave you with. Drawing on that emphasis in the sources, on logos, on logic. Think about your day, the conversations, the articles, the posts you scroll through. How much of that information is really trying to persuade you using logic and evidence?
Versus appealing to your emotions, Picos, or relying on the speaker's status or credibility, ethos.
What happens if you consciously try, just for a bit, to separate the logical argument, the actual evidence, from all the other stuff wrapped around it? What do you actually find underneath?